What's up, collectors? I hope you guys are doing great out there. So recently I was on the search for a tobacco fragrance and I think I might have found a good one. So today I'm going to review Daniel Josier's Ambre Tabac. Stay tuned. Welcome back. My name is Earl and this is The Casual Collector. So if you guys have watched any of my previous videos, you know I have a mixed array of fragrances. Some of the more popular fragrances that everybody loves and reveres, and then some fragrances that's kind of off of the beaten track, fragrances that people don't really speak so much about or haven't spoke so much about lately. So while I was at the mall last week, I found a fragrance outlet, and of course, I had to stop in. When I stepped inside, I was glancing at the wall and realized that I've either owned most of the fragrances that was on the wall or the other fragrances I just wasn't really a fan of. So I was looking for something new, something that I wasn't really too familiar with, and something that had like a tobacco note on it. It is fall time and we're going to edge into winter pretty soon. So why not find some season appropriate fragrances for the time being? And tobacco is one of those notes that really work well in the fall and the winter. So the associate pointed me to a corner where there was a line of fragrances that I had never heard of by Daniel Josier. And she pulled out a few fragrances, but one really stuck out to me, obviously, because it had tobacco in it, and it was a closer fragrance to what I was really looking for. So that brought us here today with my review for Ambre Tabac. Let's get started. So let's check out the presentation. It comes in this nice square cardboard box. It has the label on the front. It has the name of the fragrance on the top, and it also says for adults only, I believe, which is interesting. It has the scan code on the back, and then it has the ingredients on the bottom. So the cool thing is it opens up kind of like this with this clear bottle with this gold cap, and you take the bottle out and it has Daniel Josier Parfums on the front. It also has a label on the side which gives you options with storing and the name Daniel Josier on the cap and nothing on the back. And as far as the atomizer, it sprays pretty wide. And I don't know about everyone's bottle, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has these little flakes in it, and I'm gonna assume that they are tobacco leaf flakes. I guess I would have been concerned had I bought it online or bought it from somewhere that wasn't a reputable store, but because of who the perfumer is and where I bought it from, I'm gonna just assume that it came with what appears to be tobacco flakes. As far as the notes, it opens up with incense and bergamot, which I could definitely tell you the incense is very prevalent. And in the mid, it has sandalwood and patchouli. And in the base, it has amber, tobacco leaves, which is what I think is in this bottle, and vanilla. So what attracted me to this fragrance in the store is the incense and the vanilla. They popped off right away. There were some hints of tobacco in the beginning, but the tobacco really shines when you get around the mid and the dry down. But the incense and the vanilla puts me in the vibe of a Middle Eastern fragrance. And when I saw the bottle, I actually thought that this fragrance might have been a Middle Eastern fragrance, but then the sales associate told me a little bit about the perfumer, and then obviously when I went home, I researched a little bit more. And so I can't really justify or identify this to be Middle Eastern inspired, but with the incense and the vanilla, it does fall in the realm with some other fragrances that I have with the same motivation. And the great thing about this fragrance is in the opening, you get what I said was an incense vanilla vibe, and then in dry down, you get some of the woody elements from the sandalwood, but then you still get the tobacco and the vanilla. The incense kind of fades away, which is fine because it kind of turns into a different fragrance, but just as enjoyable. And I can definitely tell you, I really enjoy this fragrance. And while I love this fragrance, I can definitely tell you this is not the fragrance that you want to wear in every occasion. I wouldn't wear this to the office. Some people might wear this and think they could pull it off. I probably wouldn't want to smell this at work, only because in the beginning, the incense, although it's great and it's mixed pretty well with the vanilla, It's a little sharp. And then in the dry down with the tobacco, if you're in a work environment where fragrances aren't encouraged or even banned, so I've heard some people say, this isn't one of those fragrances that you can kind of sneakily wear, because you will definitely be noticed. The incense and tobacco definitely presents themselves in the open and in the dry down. But I would definitely wear this in any other occasion where you're probably not in close proximity to people for a long period of time, unless you go light on the sprays. 4 sprays work perfectly for me. And so let's talk about the performance. As far as projection, it projected off of my skin for about 3 hours really good. Definitely a good distance away. I remember when I sprayed it at home the very first time I wore it, everybody in the house kind of picked up on it depending on where I was moving about. And even when I left to go to work, I went in my office for a little bit, and I had some appointments. And a couple of people did notice it, somebody in my office and then one of the clients I was meeting with. So for me, the performance is definitely there. As far as the longevity, I got about 8 hours out of it before it really became a skin scent. And when it became a skin scent is really when everything else left and the tobacco was still present. Obviously, it wasn't as broad of a projection as it was in the first 3 hours, and then even as it subsided for the next 5 hours. But definitely up close, you get tobacco, and kind of only tobacco, toward the end of that fragrance. And I didn't mention the amber because to my nose, I didn't get as much of the amber as I did the sandalwood, but I'm sure it was there. It was just probably mixed in to create like that strong woodsy feel. But I definitely got the sandalwood more than I did get the amber of the fragrance. I really enjoy this fragrance, and to rate this fragrance, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I really like the presentation with the box. I really like the bottle. The scent is really good, and the price is actually pretty good. I didn't speak of the price before. The price I paid, because I bought 2 bottles, they were running a sale, so I got them for about $100 a piece. I think it retails for about $150, so I'm not too far off with the price. But you know, for a 50 ml bottle, I paid $100. That could be kind of steep to some people, but it's not one of those fragrances that you could just find anywhere. It's not a fragrance that people talk a lot about. When I went to do some research on this fragrance, I seen like the latest review on this fragrance was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe when it first came out. So there hasn't been anything recent from my knowledge or anything that I was able to find. So they kind of bring this fragrance back up. I mean, it could really be considered as a hidden gem because it doesn't really get talked about. I haven't seen it in any of the Facebook groups like at all. So if you like tobacco fragrances, especially the sweet ones with like tobacco leaf and vanilla and the incense, even though I don't think the incense was really sweet, but the incense was definitely present, I think this is a really good fragrance to check out. So yep, 7 out of 10, really good fragrance, above average fragrance, something that I'd definitely be wearing. So that was my take on Daniel Josier's Ambre Tabac. I really enjoyed it, hopefully the way you enjoyed this video. And because I believe you did, please remember to hit the like button, drop me a comment, tell me if there's any fragrances that you would like for me to review. And if you like this channel, if you like videos about fragrances, fragrance reviews, and top list videos, please be sure to subscribe. I upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you won't really miss out much. So until next time, when you get ready to step out into the world, you better make sure that you smell good and smile. Check you later.